We're joined now by Marie Curtin, the recently retired Marie Curtin. You brought down a glittering career, an end to a glittering career at the weekend. Marie, how was the first couple of days, I suppose, been after your retirement announcement?
Yeah, thanks, Adrian. I suppose I had it known that I was going to retire kind of towards the end of the season. But to be honest, it's been a thing on my mind the last couple of years. But I got back in, and it's just so good to have a team in Limerick. So I got in, and kind of towards the end of the season, I felt sure, and still today I feel sure it's the best decision. So I announced it just recently. In the last game of the season, I sit down with Irene and Dave and the lads after, and I just told them my plans. So kind of from there we kind of set for a while after the last game, and they kind of didn't want to see me put up the boots just yet, but no, I think it's the best decision. It feels right anyway. So
yeah, we actually have a lot to get through, I suppose, Marine, because you've had a long career and a very exciting career as well. But obviously, you mentioned that all the clubs you had played with, and obviously the international teams you had played with as well in your retirement announcement on Twitter. But I suppose the first couple of clubs you did mention were Trinity Rangers and Croom United, where you kind of started off at the very beginning as a young girl. And the love of soccer obviously developed at that stage.
Yeah, it's gas. Like when you come to the end, you really do reflect a bit back on your career and on your younger days of playing. And it all started off. I went to a really small primary school in Benogue in County Limerick. My class had 10 pupils. The school was really small, and it was just absolutely normal for us to just play soccer every day. It was the days before the iPads, days before the phones, days before all this technology. So like my memory of primary school was just playing soccer with the lads. There was a couple of girls who played as well, but it was just all soccer, so just obsessed. I played soccer with Trinity Rangers then, local boys team in Atlaka, and and there wasn't really girls teams around then, and luckily enough a girls team popped up in Croom then, under 12. So I played with the boys team for a while. Most girls kind of who go on and do, like, you hear nothing else, that my first team was a boys team, so same story. And Croom United, just great memories. Always be thankful for those people at the start and throughout the career, so always look back in fond memories.
Yeah, it's funny that you mention it, because obviously when I was playing as a young schoolboy as well, you always remember maybe teams having one or two girls on the team because they weren't able maybe to fulfill a full girls team in the area. Was that difficult, or do you think it might have actually helped when you got to play with all girls, maybe the first few years playing with boys as well?
Yeah, like when I remember when I first rocked up, first day, it would have been lads from my primary school who said, come along and play. And I remember there was 2 teams there, and they told me I was going to be playing on the B team, and I was like, oh, come on. Even at that young age, I was like, and but straight away they no longer put me on the B team, so it was good. But I suppose, it's great when you play on boys teams, like it does. The level was much higher, and to be honest, when I did get into the girls' game, it was just easy. Like, well, I suppose football just came easy to me as well, and I was playing Gaelic football as well, so I would have been on boys' teams kind of up until under 16. But at the time, under 12 was the cut-off age, so I had to stop playing with them. But yeah, I think good experiences anyway. And when you're young, you don't really think of the gender thing. You just want to go and you want to play. So I think they've made the year for girls to stop playing on boys team. I think they've made it hard. I believe it's at under 16 now, if I'm right. And I think that's brilliant. And I think they should even have like emerging talent groups or with mixed, because at that age it's very level. So good experience anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned there about, emerging talents. Obviously, the game is growing a lot, though. The women's game, it has grown a lot. I assume, since the days when you started, maybe up until now.
For sure. Like, I suppose the next team on then would have been Lifford. There was a team no longer in Croom, so I kind of had to go looking for a team. And a team found me in the end, and it was Lifford's ladies in Ennis. So I'm from Banno Croom area, and my parents would travel to Ennis many weekends, and those were the times where the roads aren't as good even as now. So like the amount my parents had to do for me just to play on a good team, but this Lifford team did loads of internationals, so my parents didn't mind.
Actually, kind of where you got your first recognition, I suppose, playing underage internationals as well, Marie. It kind of coincided with that, because obviously Lifford, as you said, are such a renowned ladies club and were for many years as well. So it was probably a very good move for you in that respect.
Yeah, amazing. Our manager, he took us out to America 2 different years to play in international tournaments over there. So like, what other young girl gets to do that? Like, it was amazing. And the experience of soccer brings you. And kind of from there, I don't think I was playing about a year with Lifford, and straight away got opportunities to go for trials and things. So I would have been 14 going for trials, and would have gotten down the under 16 international team, and kind of all kicked off more seriously, I suppose, from there. But
you mentioned America as well, Marie. I noticed that you obviously you went on a scholarship for 4 years as well in America to Hofstra University, which is actually based in Long Island, I believe, in New York. And so I assumed that with the opportunities you were getting, there would have been a lot of people very envious, like at the time, for someone of your age to be getting the opportunity to go to America and go to New York and play soccer over there as well.
Yeah, I suppose like I dedicated my life to my sport, between soccer and Gaelic, and I wasn't always easy. I definitely worked very hard. I had to make huge commitment, and I suppose a few opportunities arose for me to go to America, and I suppose I picked New York in the end. It couldn't be more opposite to the way I grew up. So I went from growing up in a farm in Atlaka, and I went up to New York, and it was just a wow experience. Again, difficult being at home, being away so far from home at times, but just really to go into that full-time playing environment was incredible. I suppose over there, it's when you're in college, it's full-time football. Like it's not like college over here. It's not like playing for your college team here. It's very much seen as a full-time, almost professional environment, and there's that sense of equality as well over there. They actually have a section 9, or they have a sanction that you must fund women's teams in college the very same as you would the men's. So it made the whole experience, the whole playing, the whole training environment just superb. And you got the best of the best, and it really was a professional environment from such a young age. So it was super.
Yeah, you made a transition as well while you were over there to actually playing in the Women's Premier Soccer League with Long Island Fury. And I know that they reckon you'll be remembered for a long time after scoring the first 3 goals, I believe, as well for the Long Island Fury team. And you went on to great success. But obviously, as you said, the transition wouldn't have been easy, because obviously soccer in America, women's soccer in America, has always been massive. And as you said, there's a lot of Irish girls, you're aiming to go over to America to play as well. And it has been a big game. So it must have been a really tough challenge as well, as you said, standard-wise too.
Yeah, the seasons over there were short. When you play club over there, it's kind of that summer-long season, or it was at the time. And kind of your autumn, your fall season is your college season then, but you would have a spring training season, you'd have a spring season as well, just for your development kind of, and strength and conditioning would be a big thing. And so those summer seasons were fantastic too. I did two of them. Our coach out there, Paul Riley, for the club team, is one of the top managers within women's football in the world. So I've serious memories and experience playing under him. He was incredible. We won a WPSL championship my first year with them in 2006. So huge highlight for me. And I would have played alongside a couple of American internationals as well, from Long Island. So with that team, but yeah, the whole experience, like my college years, that environment it's just fantastic. You can't buy it. Like, so good to experience that and have gone through that.
Yeah, it's funny as well because obviously it says in your bio, if you will, that you went back home and played with Kilmallock following your spell in America. It was a newly formed team, and I know you actually lost out in the final against Bohemians of the FAI Junior Cup. It was probably a high profile signing for Kilmallock, considering you had international caps and everything. Was there a lot of onus on you when you did sign for the team, and a lot of expectation?
Yeah. So when I came back, I kind of went in and out of Gaelic as well when I came back, and in and out of different things. In that time when I came back, I think I first played for Cork City FC in that first season for the Women's National League as well. And in that next year, then I went to Norway. So I played a year in Norway as well. Another really good experience for me, which I really enjoyed. Really glad I got to go somewhere else and play like that as well. And I think it was after that, because I retired from international football in the end of 2012. And for me, there was it just came to that time where I knew as well, like, you dedicate your whole life to it. Just want to do different things, and soon after that I set up a business as well, and that was running for 5 years. So and in and out of this, like, I was playing for Galway City FC, for Cork City, in the Women's National League again. So I was kind of back and forth between business, Gaelic football for Limerick County ladies, and kind of back and forth in different things, and finally we come to 2000, about 3 seasons ago, where I played my first season with Limerick FC and on to Treaty United.
Yeah, just to roll back on what you said, where you said you retired at 28, obviously, which from international soccer, which some people would say would be quite early because you're considered to be maybe in the prime of your career at that point. But I know that it's been well documented, like, that the FAI have been criticised by many people for the treatment of women's soccer, which was probably really only highlighted in a big way a couple of years ago when the international team actually took a stand against it. I mean, there was really poor stories coming out of given kits back after travelling and obviously getting changed in airports, and we know, I suppose, the stories of it. So you must have been probably in one way full of pride in the fact that the ladies team actually finally took a stand against it and united.
Oh, I was so proud of them. That was, it was a completely different world to now, of just the environment it was. And I suppose when you go away like that, it even makes it more intense, the difference and the frustrations that, you're not progressing as a team, or, so we didn't reach finals, but like, it just, I think there's this underpinning feeling that, like, we just didn't get the right environment, and obviously we didn't, as so many players came out after. So it's just completely different culture now. Finally, there's more attention on the women's game, and the 2020 campaign and the girls coming out that time in 2017 was a big thing for change. But like, so proud of them I was, and it's just, yeah, it could be frustrating time at times, but like you said, it was always an honor, and I always put my international career first. It was always such an honor to come back and play. And look, I got to travel around the world with it. Like, not many girls would get to do that. So I've had unbelievable experiences with my football. So I just have to be grateful for that.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, is the abiding memory then obviously a positive one, because you do hear so many about the treatment of the team and the fact that it probably definitely wasn't up to scratch, but obviously your abiding memory would be a positive memory of all the times, because you played from under 15s all the way up with Ireland and played 45 times as well. So it was obviously a big achievement in itself.
Yeah, I feel lucky in that also, like, I came away from it for a bit. I got into business, so ultimately I feel like, I grew up a lot more just by coming away from it and taking that step back from it. So because coming back, like, I just felt I had a whole new level of maturity, and just even being in the business world, it toughens you up as well. But being in the business world, I felt like soccer made me tough enough and strong enough to be able to start an experience like that and to jump into something which I never thought I would. But I think it's been great experience overall, and like everything has just added to the experience. It's been great, really. I feel like I feel like I've had a newfound, just a different kind of mindset, I suppose, playing with Limerick these last couple of years, particularly because my mindset was more nearly as a coach. Like I was doing coaching as well, and I've done the UFAB, but when you kind of take that focus off yourself, you're not so hard on yourself. Obviously when you're training in your full-time football and you're just trying to be better and better and better, and at times you get it wrong, you can overtrain, which I did at times, and you can get that balance wrong. And so I've had to learn and make the mistakes to get that balance right. And I definitely, my years in Treaty, I was really happy as a player. I actually really, really enjoyed my football, because the focus wasn't on me. I had my development done. I wasn't looking to play international level again. That wasn't going to happen. So I focused on just trying to help players around me and just enjoying the thing. So it was a different experience again, and I'm really glad I got to come back and just not to have the focus on me, if that makes any sense. It just allows you to enjoy it a bit more.
Yeah, you came back, obviously it came full circle, Marie, in that you finally signed for your hometown club, I suppose, in terms of Limerick back in 3 years ago now. I suppose it's probably bittersweet in terms of like the second year, particularly the club as a whole was in disarray, really. From the men's team, I know that Dave Rooney had said to me that the women's committee had totally split from Limerick by the end, which was fairly fractious in itself. Was that a kind of a bittersweet thing that you're playing for your hometown club, but obviously there was a lot of problems there, particularly in that second season?
I must credit Dave Rooney and Irene, really, because everything that you're saying, like, we as players, we've heard there was a lot going on, but we weren't subjected to it really at all. We didn't see all that stuff. We still had training. We still got by. Okay, there was a time where we had to go training on not such a nice pitch, and it wasn't great, but like, we were still training away. We were happy out. So we didn't really see it at all. We weren't exposed to it really. The lads took everything. They took that pressure away from it. They took all of that onus away from us. So we really didn't. And yeah, it's a real shame how things went down. And look, I publicly said, I'm just so grateful to the lads, Irene, Dave, the committee that's there now, the board that's there now, in shaping up Treaty United, and it's nothing but positive things that I'm seeing. Anytime I meet with the board, or there's just good. You just see that it's on the right path now, and it's really exciting, just for the future of soccer in Limerick, really, and for that region of Limerick. So yeah, after hearing about different things that went on, it's just refreshing to see that, yeah, it's going in a good direction, and I just hope that it continues to keep up. But I'm feeling good about it, and hopefully I'll be involved in shaping that club more as well, if I'm involved in a club going forward.
Yeah, I was just about to say it, because obviously there is, from reporting on the games this year, particularly in the second half of the season, that there is a great vibe up there, and a very welcoming vibe as well at the club, which is great. It is refreshing at the moment, because it can be a bit toxic when in years gone by. It has been in the past, but I suppose as a player, in one way, you mentioned that it is a project now, Treaty United, and obviously they're looking to add to that in terms of more girls teams, obviously a boys academy as well as a men's senior team. But is it probably slightly disappointing for you that maybe the project came too late for you as a player, in terms of you only had one season to play?
It is what it is. I mean, it would have been great, but saying that, like, I felt growing up, I suppose throughout my career, I had to go away to play at a decent level. I didn't really have a choice if I wanted to kind of progress. And so should there have been the same opportunities as there is becoming now, and that there is now, maybe I wouldn't have left. But I've gotten many great opportunities from it as well. So who knows? But look, I think just the important thing is to make it right now, and just kind of contribute to it anyway as well.
Yeah, when doing some research, you mentioned it there is about your coaching and the fact that you're looking to get into it. Just before you announced your retirement, well, a week past, you praised obviously Irene Hare and Dave Rooney. Might have surprised some people that both of them left their roles from Treaty. Because I had been talking to Dave maybe a month before Christmas, and he seemed like he was, very enthusiastic about the future and wanting to be involved. So was it? I suppose it's probably slightly disappointing to lose two people of that experience in the job and at the club.
Yeah, I was shocked, to be honest, as well. I didn't know that they were going to. Our decisions were all separate. I had no idea that they were going to step away from it. I think, there'll be a loss to the club for sure in that all that they've done. And look, hopefully there's people out there. It's a great opportunity for any aspiring manager to step in to coach in a women's national league, where the level is just growing and growing and growing year on year. So look, hopefully we'll be able to find their place. Like, Irene is just such a fantastic person as well, fantastic coach, and just great person, knowledgeable about the women's game in particular, and just to come in, and she's done so much. So they'll definitely be missed, and I'm sure that they won't be far at the same time. I'm sure that they'll see games. They're both heavily involved in the international underage scene as coaches, so you can't be too surprised. They have a lot on their plate with that too. So I wish them nothing but good luck, and I appreciate everything they've done for me.
Yeah, you kind of let it slip there a while ago that you wouldn't mind to be involved in some capacity yourself in the future. Would it come too soon for you to throw your name into the ring now?
I definitely wouldn't put my name to a manager position right now. I'm not there yet. I think that's too much of a transition to go from player to manager. Management is a completely different ball game. I see myself in coaching on some level, and hopefully I will. So I would really like to just get in and see what I can do as a coach for sure, at some age.
Yeah, the girls mentioned towards the end of the season, and Dave said it as well, that maybe it was a slightly disappointing end to the season on the pitch for Treaty, in that they could look like for a while that you were going to finish top of the tier 2, which would have been a great achievement considering it was the first year that a lot of those players were even maybe playing at that level. I suppose going forward, and what would your message be to your former teammates, and what to maybe concentrate on? Because as you said, it is a very tough and unforgiving league.
Yeah, like I'm looking forward to seeing how things go now, because sometimes freshening up in manager can be good too. So someone absolutely new coming in there could be great. So what I would say, the girls are so good. It's such a young team. Like I was obviously the oldest in there at 35, and like I think the next age down, was maybe 24 or something. Like, and there's so many like 18, 19 years old, 17 even. So such a young team, and I suppose they don't know. I suppose they've been learning just the level, and like you just have to get in and experience it. You just, it might be a big step up for them, and they're all still young players, but there's some players that are really coming on so well, like Shannon Parbat, Lauren Keane, like, there's great players in there, Aoife Horgan, the Shine twins. There's so many that have such good attributes on the team, and I'm really looking forward at what they do. And I hope whatever management and whatever coaching staff step in there, that they can really develop these players on again. Because I can see, yes, we've had a bad season, but I don't think we're far off being a mid-table position, definitely.
Yeah, especially I suppose, there was a great achievement in terms of getting to an FAI semi-final and actually playing really well. Probably one of the better performances of the season, really, on the day. It was one of those games where you were written off from the start, really. And to be honest, I was very surprised, because I had always been under the impression that you were always playing as a centre back all the way up and in defence. So I know you played up front that day, but it turns out you were actually more versatile as a player than I was led to believe.
Thank you. No, I've definitely been versatile throughout my career in playing different positions. I love to score goals. I love to shoot on goal. But we tried something different against Cork. When we played them in season, we didn't get on too well. It all depends on kind of injuries and things at the time too. Like we had centre halves who were fit and ready to play, so he decided to put me up top. And unfortunately, I got a dead leg around 25 minutes in, and I was in a heap after that. So I didn't feel like I contributed well for that semi-final. But the girls who came on, like, they just changed the game, and we really put it to them in that second half. Like I feel like if we got that one goal back, that maybe we could have leveled things, because I felt like we were all over them that second half. Players that came in were fantastic, and yeah, it was disappointing in the end. And yes, we had good spells in our season, we had poorer spells, but yeah, just excited to what we do now going forward as a club, and just watching that group.
Obviously, I'm sure everyone will echo the sentiment as well, that we wish you the best for the future. And judging by your Twitter feed and the news feeds, from the fact that RTE and everyone was publishing your retirement, that it was you were a very popular player. And obviously we wish you all the best for the future, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.